All right, Knicks fans, I need you to sit down for this one, because what James Dolan just said out loud on the radio might be the most infuriating thing he's done honestly, since the last infuriating thing he did. We just watched this franchise in a 53-year championship drought. 53 years. An entire generation of Knicks fans went their whole lives without seeing this team hoist a trophy. And within weeks of that parade, the owner is already on the airwaves telling everybody not to get too comfortable. Before I get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is only going to grow from here, and I don't want you missing a single Knicks story. And if you agree with anything I'm about to say, or if you think I'm dead wrong, smash that like button and drop a comment below. I read every single one of them, and honestly, the comment section on these videos has become one of my favorite parts of doing this channel. So here's what happened. Dolan went on a local radio show and basically drew a line in the sand. He said this team is not going past the second apron. For those of you who don't follow the financial side of the league closely, think of the apron system as a series of tripwires the NBA built to punish teams that spend big to keep a winning roster together. Cross the first one, you lose some flexibility. Cross the second one, and the penalties get brutal. You can't aggregate salaries and trades. You lose access to the taxpayer mid-level exception. Your draft picks get frozen at the bottom of the first round in future years. It's basically the league's way of saying congratulations on winning. Now watch us make as hard as possible for you to do it again. And Dolan just told the city of New York on the record that he's not willing to eat those penalties. Not for this roster. Not for this group that just delivered the first title this franchise has seen since before most of us were even born. Now, my first reaction, like probably yours, was pure anger. This man has spent money before. He paid Thibodeau. He paid Mike Brown. He's never exactly been shy about opening the checkbook when it suited him. So why now? Why, at the exact moment this front office finally has a championship-caliber core locked in, does the owner suddenly discover fiscal restraint? But then I started digging into some of the other stuff Dolan has been saying and doing over the past couple of years, and honestly, I think there might be more going on here than just cheapness, and that almost makes it worse. See, Dolan has been at war with the league office for a while now. Back in 2024, he sent this letter to the Board of Governors, a real scorched earth message, pushing back hard on the WNBA's expansion plans and demanding the league be more transparent about how it handles revenue sharing. This is a guy who runs one of the biggest media markets in the country, and he's been forced for years to hand a chunk of that local revenue over prop up smaller market franchises. He's called out the league's television deal structure directly, arguing the move toward an NFL-style national broadcast model actively hurts regional networks like the one his own company owns. So when I hear him say, "We're capping at the second apron," I can't help but wonder if this is less about basketball strategy and more about a guy who is still stewing over how much money he's already been forced to redistribute to the rest of the league. And he's decided the roster is where he draws his personal protest line. And look, I get being frustrated with revenue sharing. I get being frustrated with league politics. That's a real business grievance, and Dolan's entitled to have opinions about how the NBA runs itself. But do not take that frustration out on us. Do not take it out on this roster. Do not take out on a fan base that waited more than 5 decades for a parade down the Canyon of Heroes. If you have a problem with Adam Silver and the Board of Governors, fight that fight in the boardroom. Don't fight it by letting Mitchell Robinson walk, or by refusing to pay what it takes to keep this group of guys together for one more run. Because here's the brutal truth. This Knicks roster right now might be the best shot this franchise has had in a generation to not just win one title, but to actually build a dynasty. Everything about how this team is built points toward being able to compete at the top of the league for years, not just one magical spring. And if ownership lets that window shut because of a grudge with the league's revenue structure, that is not a basketball decision. That's not something Leon Rose can fix in the front office. That's an owner-level failure, plain and simple. I want to be fair here for a second, because it's easy to just scream at the TV and call the owner cheap. Dolan isn't wrong that the transparency issue is real. Teams like the Knicks genuinely do subsidize smaller markets, and it is fair to ask where that money actually goes every single year. That's a legitimate fight worth having as a governor. But there's a difference between fighting that battle at the league level and quietly punishing your own fan base by capping teams spending right after the single greatest achievement in franchise history. Those two things don't have to be connected. And if Dolan is letting them bleed into each other, that's on him, not on us. So what happens now? If this report holds up, we could be looking at a very different roster by the time next season tips off. Guys who helped deliver this title might not be wearing orange and blue much longer, all because ownership wants to make a point to the rest of the league's owners. And if that's really what's happening here, it is one of the most self-defeating moves I have ever seen from a team that just won it all. I want to know what you think. Do you believe this is really about the second apron penalties? Or is Dolan settling a score with the league using our championship roster as the bargaining chip? Type it out in the comments. I promise I'm reading them. And while you're down there, tap that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update the second real news breaks on this. We're going to be following the story hard over the next few weeks because this roster, this fan base, and this city deserve better than watching a championship core get dismantled over a grudge. Thank you for watching, Knicks fans. I'll see you in the next one.